This is day 109, the art of emulation. This morning I found myself reflecting on the word emulation. It's a concept that runs deep in human nature, influencing everything from how we learned it as children to how we innovate as adults. Emulation has become one of humanity's greatest strengths. Our ability to observe, absorb, and build upon the ideas and actions of others has propelled us to incredible heights. Yet it's a word with a mixed reputation. In some circles, emulation is celebrated as the foundation of progress. In others, it's condemned as imitation, perhaps even fraud. This tension got me thinking, what does it really mean to emulate? And why does this matter? So what is emulation? At its core, emulation is the process of imitating something or someone with the intent to match, or even surpass their success. It's not just blind copying, it's an intentional act of understanding, analyzing, and applying what works. Emulation is different from simple replication. To replicate is to copy something exactly, without necessarily understanding it. Emulation, on the other hand, requires skill, discernment, and creativity. It's about capturing the essence of what makes something effective and adapting it to your own context. Where does emulation apply? Emulation shows up in nearly every field of human endeavor. Science and technology, for example. Scientific discovery is built on emulation. Researchers study past experiments, replicate their methods, and then build on those findings to push the boundaries of knowledge. Without emulation, progress would stall. Second would be art and creativity. Artists often emulate the styles of those who inspired them. Musicians learn by playing the works of great composers. Writers study the structure, tone, and style of their favorite authors. Far from stifling creativity, this process often sparks innovation. Third is in business and leadership. In business, emulating successful leaders or organizations is a common strategy. Entrepreneurs study the habits and strategies of those who've come before them, adopting best practices while tailoring them to their own vision. Fourth, personal growth. Even in our personal lives, we tend to emulate. We look up to mentors, family members, or friends whose qualities we admire. By observing how they handle challenges, relationships, or opportunities, we learn how to navigate our own paths. Emulation requires a bit of skill. Contrary to popular belief, emulation is not easy. It takes effort and insight to emulate effectively, and here's why. First, you have to understand the why. To emulate successfully, you must go beyond the surface. It's not enough to copy what someone does. You need to understand why they do it. What principles or strategies underpin their success? Second is adaptation. What works for someone else may not work for you in exactly the same way. Emulation requires adaptability, taking what you've learned and tailoring it to fit your unique circumstances and strengths. Third would be discernment. Not every trait or strategy is worth emulating. Part of the art of emulation is knowing what to adopt and what to leave behind. So how do you go about emulating others? If you want to master the art of emulation, here's a few steps to guide you. You might want to consider, first, identifying role models. Find people or organizations that inspire you. Look for those who have achieved what you hope to achieve and pay attention to their methods. Second, study them deeply. Don't just observe from a distance, dig deep. Read their works, watch their interviews, analyze their actions. The more you understand their mindset and approach, the better equipped you'll be to emulate them. Third, practice with intention. Put what you've learned into action, but do so intentionally. Start small, test different strategies, and refine your approach as you go. Fourth, acknowledge your sources. Give credit where it's due. Emulating someone doesn't make you a fraud, it makes you wise. Recognizing the contributions of others doesn't diminish your achievements, it actually enhances them. Emulation, in my opinion, is a strength, not a weakness. There's a misconception that admitting you're emulating someone makes you less original or less capable. But the truth is, emulation is a hallmark of successful people. The most innovative minds, from great inventors to groundbreaking artists, have all drawn inspiration from those who came before them. The key is to approach emulation with humility and integrity. When you acknowledge the influence of others, you show that you're grounded and willing to learn. And when you take what you've learned and add your own spin, you're contributing something new to the world. There's a concept called building on the shoulders of giants. There's a famous saying that goes something like, "If I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." This is the essence of emulation. It's not about copying for the sake of copying. It's about learning from those who've paved the way and using their insights to reach even greater heights. So the next time you find yourself inspired by someone else's success, don't shy away from emulating them. Dive in, learn deeply, and make it your own. Emulation isn't just a tool for growth, it's actually an art. And when practiced well, it can help you achieve more than you ever possibly imagined.